So Bondi, baby, I'm TGV's friend. The name's Mountbatten. Hugo Mountbatten.
I do hope you gave your parents hell for that.
Well, I ate them with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
May I ask you where it is?
The new Bond script? What's it to you? You're not even going to be in the next one.
You don't think this is a very good plan, do you?
Oh, good God, no. Your franchise is, well, as the kids say, not very lit, is it?
You've heard the term.
Of course, old sport. It needs to be more YOLO, like the Connery or Roger Moore days. Speaking of which, is that a Rolex I see?
Amiga.
So predictable, darling. All that money Amiga gives you must be awfully nice to enjoy.
Every penny of it.
Anyway, I do hope you didn't miss any of our darling TGV's videos. You didn't forget to click like, did you?
No, of course not.
Oh, jolly good. But, how's that goat meat?
Skewered. On sympathizers.
How frightfully ghastly. British Rail really has gone downhill recently. Look, I got slippers that are mock dress shoes.
Oh, that's perfect for me. Perfect for me. I need that. Actually, I don't, but that's pretty cool.
Again, not enough space.
You're growing every time we shoot.
Did that move at all? No, I'll just sit back there. That's fine.
You're fine. You look good. Look at you in the box. Perfect.
You're in the box as well.
Oh, I guess the box moves.
Yeah,
Oh.
it tracks your, yeah.
I don't get this stuff. I'll stick to selling watches. I can't wait to hear the questions.
Right. I sprung a few the last time.
That's okay. Hey.
Last time.
And I got to think on my feet, which makes it all the more real.
I can't do that. I'm one of those people that's like, I think of the answers several days later. I'm like, I'm waking up.
Well, if I remember it on the way back home, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Good.
What's up, everybody?
Recording.
Hello, America.
Testing. All right.
And the world.
Okay, hi guys, and welcome once again to the show with Mark. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm tired at this point.
Tired.
I'm tired, but I'm doing good.
The drive from New York to Philly.
Leaving New York is just, it doesn't make a difference where you're going. You could be going further into the country west. You could be going north. You could be going south. It doesn't matter. Leaving Long Island, and my fellow New Yorkers will understand this,
right, yeah.
is the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
There's only like 7 ways to get off the island to get into mainland America.
Right.
And every single one sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have to drive through the city?
You can. It depends.
How do you do it?
I asked Mr. Google, and he tells me the way to go.
New York Road Chat.
Yes, thank you. This is why I never leave the island.
Okay.
Hi.
Yeah, how you do? Wristwatch check first.
Oh, I guess I'll go with this one first. So this is
my
titanium.
God.
This is a titanium mod that I did myself. I put it on my channel. It
It's
was
not
one of the videos.
I thought it was an
So
Islander.
it is an Islander.
Right.
I took one of my personal Islanders and I popped
modded
it into a titanium case.
Very impressive.
Okay, and then I put a steel dual time bezel insert in it, so it's like super light. I put on this
That
really
is
cool
slick.
seatbelt strap. Yeah, I really like the way this came out.
Yeah.
So that was nice. And then Presage cocktail time, power
What-
reserve.
What a different.
What a
you know,
dichotomy,
yeah,
huh?
exactly.
Yeah. But this was one of those watches where I said to Seiko, I'm like, can I get one of those?
Yeah.
Like in the candy store, and they're like, yeah, you can have one. So,
Nice.
yeah, yay!
Nice. Very nice. I'm wearing the Yema Superman, the bronze version.
Oh, nice.
I haven't worn this for absolutely donkeys, and I think the love has faded a little bit. I regret selling the steel one.
Okay.
I saw this on the website and I thought, like I was going for a goldy phase.
Yeah, sure.
And I thought, bronze is kind of...
Bronze is kind of gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's their in-house movement. It's great size.
Nice crystal.
Yeah,
A box, yeah.
yeah, and it's a good watch. I kind of miss the steel one.
No.
That's
Oh,
it.
hey, catch and release is what happens.
Yeah, that's very true.
See,
It's
that's-
still a good watch, though. I do like it. Anyway, what are we discussing today? So,
Please,
As
lay
always-
it on me.
as always, I send you a whole bunch of concepts, and this was one of yours that you replied,
Oh,
and I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. So,
thank you.
and I'll read it precisely how you wrote it. You said,
Oh, God.
can a brand reinvent itself? Open bracket. Looking at you, Seiko. Close brackets. There. So that's going to be the title of the video, right there. Boom, done.
I didn't think you would pick it.
Really? Why not?
I don't know. You had really good ideas.
No, no. This is a cracking idea. So, what? Okay, first of all, what's going on with Seiko?
So this, I guess, when you asked me for ideas, and I was thinking, like, what's in, really not in popular culture, but what's in watch culture nowadays?
Right.
A lot of the things, I guess, focus around Seiko and where are they going? What are they doing? They are up-marketing themselves. They're getting rid of the lower end, redesigning stuff. So I figured it'd just be a good, it is like they're changing their brand image in a way, so I figured it'd be a good topic for us to,
Nice.
for you to pose the questions, and I'll answer them as best as I can.
Okay.
As much as I know, which is limited, but
Okay.
I guess I'm the view from behind the sales counter, as
Right,
opposed to from
right.
the other side of the sales
Right.
counter.
What are they doing aside from the pricing, and they're kind of
Well,
reorganizing?
Yeah, well, that was a bunch of years ago, right? In 2018, 2019, they cleaved off Grand Seiko, made it its own company, because they want that to be the competitor with your all finer Swiss brands. I guess as Americans, because we're in America, let's be honest, Seiko is a mall brand. It's in Macy's or
Yeah, it's
whatever,
a good
Boscov's
move.
or whatever.
Yeah.
It's that's where they are. And when spring drive started to proliferate, 15, 20 years ago, you start to look at, I can get a Seiko for $200, or I can get a Seiko for $2,000. I think
Doesn't
there's
make sense.
it doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
right? So I guess that makes sense for them, right? Because
Yeah.
now when a store, let's say a nice jewelry store, take your pick of name,
Yeah.
wants to bring in the brand, they can just bring in Grand Seiko. They don't have to bring in Seiko. They can just get the nice stuff.
I'm gonna interject there. It's funny you mention Grand Seiko, because I was talking to Derek at Moya. You know Moya's, and they're a Grand Seiko authorized dealer. And I asked him. I said, just out of interest, what are your maybe I should be saying this. What are your best sellers? You
Right.
know? And he said, well, he said, you got your Rolexes and your Omega, and right at the top was Grand Seiko.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised. I was like, really? They're going that strong? And he goes, yeah, you can't keep them in the store.
Right.
And I was thinking, like, that's so funny, because I remember when that announcement, that
Yeah.
change happened, people, especially in this country, were like, and it's different from what I understand in Japan.
Sure, absolutely. It's the pride and joy of Japan.
Yeah, and rightfully so. But here, it wasn't taken seriously as a luxury brand.
That's correct. I would say also, though, playing probably into what he told you is more or less the number of doors that sell Grand Seiko as compared to the number of doors that sell Omega. There's just far fewer. There's also it's probably much lighter production of Grand Seiko as well.
Right.
There's a lot of hands-on. A lot of Omega has gone to automation, amazing automation.
Have you seen those incredible robots they have? Yeah.
Pick and place machines. Yeah.
Yeah.
So whereas I think Grand Seiko still a lot of it is hand detail, but I mean that's
a true luxury.
Yeah.
That's almost like bordering. Well, it is like horology.
yeah,
really.
it's craftsmanship.
Yeah.
So but it's great to hear that the brand is accelerating for them. But let's say a store like that doesn't want the $200 or $300 Seiko Solars, then they don't have to get it. They can just do Grand Seiko, and then
Right.
that can stand right next to Omega without a problem in the store.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny how times have changed. I wanted to ask you bad examples of rebranding.
Bad example.
I got one brand written in my notes.
Well, there are brands like let's take Concord for example.
Oh yeah.
Concord's a brand that tried to rebrand, and they basically fell off the planet. I mean, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They were known through, I guess, the 80s as being, quartz watches.
Yeah.
They did make some we talked about this recently,
Yeah.
some Piaget pole type of watches,
Yeah.
thin watches, and then they tried to break into the automatic when I guess when Quartz was now moving towards all the lower cost stuff, and tried to break into automatics. And I guess Concorde's kind of still
It
around
just fell off,
in
really.
name, but they're not. You don't really see them. So I would say that's a rebranding, if you will, that's gone wrong, and that would be the one that immediately jumps to the top of my head.
I think Benris is a good. I wrote.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that's
We talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah, that's I guess that is rebranding to the definition, but it's the name just. Oh, I got one for you, Invicta.
Oh.
That's kind of that was a rebranding as well.
Yeah.
It's a rebranding from 20 years ago. But Benris too. It was a name revival, if you will, and I would say that they lost every piece of DNA that they had of being a great American watch manufacturer, making excellent field watches for the military, and then churning out these things that I guess they churn out today, but they're really expensive.
Yeah, and they look like fashion watches.
Absolutely, I think that's
Yeah.
what they're trying to. I think that's the market they're trying to go after. Unfortunately,
Yeah. I don't think they've ever watched my channel, certainly.
no, probably not. Probably not.
I got one great example of. I wouldn't actually. Is it a rebranding? Yeah, it is a rebranding. What is a good example of a rebranding?
A good example.
Well, I guess
Well,
you could say Grand Seiko's done well.
Yeah, they're doing well, and I'm one of the personal ones. I think the whole topic of the video. I think Seiko's doing a wonderful job.
Even
People hear
with
me?
Prospects and the Seiko 5.
Knocking out a lot of the lower end stuff, knocking out a lot of your, it's the 7S26 EBS, they're not making anymore. This watches are still coming out because they, Lord knows how many tens or hundreds of thousands of movements they have in reserve. But yeah, as far as knocking out a little lower and then elevating Prospects up to now, $400 or $500 level. Then Presage brings you up to, you can get $600-700, and then Presage goes way up. You get the real Japanese Presage with the Shippo dials and all that enameling and stuff. Those go super expensive. And then the decision, and again, I've talked about this ad nauseum with you, to redo the whole Seiko 5 lineup and go into the dive watches, but go into more the fashion dive watch.
I would describe them not as dive watches as we know them.
No, they're not dive watches.
They're
dive style, if you will.
Dive style everyday watches.
Yes, but now they came out in, I think, the end of
2019?
Yeah, or maybe I can't remember anymore. Maybe it's like towards the end of 19.
Yeah, something like that.
Mid 19. And even just today, or just a few days ago, I placed an order for them, and half of the SRPD, which those models are sold out. You can't.
Wow.
I still can't order them. They're just very popular. So I'd say that they are. So I think in ruin to what am I gonna ruin the plot or. Kind of a spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert,
Yes,
yeah.
thank you. Spoiler alert. I think Seiko is rebranding themselves very successfully.
It's funny, when that happened, I remember because there was a big wait for, what's going to replace the SKX? And they went with the 5KX as we know it now,
Yeah.
right? And I remember I did a reaction video on it, which I don't do honest that much, but I was in support of it. And, part of me is like, because I love the brand, I want them to do better. I want them to be getting paid what they deserve.
Right.
And maybe I wasn't being defensive, but I remember on that video, I got absolutely everyone's, this is rubbish.
Fanboy.
Yeah. And a lot of people didn't believe me that I think it was a good move.
Yeah, it was it was a very good move.
So yeah.
So suck it, America.
Yeah.
No, so it was a good move because, like I said, they're doing well. They're selling out.
Yeah.
Their business is, from what I know, is going on the up and up. It keeps going. They keep selling more watches. And they're trying, they found a niche in America, I would say. They're doing affordable automatic watches and getting them into Macy's. Again, I always say Macy's. A horrible example. I know we don't go to stores. A lot of people don't go to stores anymore.
That would be John Lewis in the UK.
Yeah,
and
Boscov's. A department store.
The department store, yeah.
And is there another brand that does that successfully? Citizen in America they've gone totally solar for the most part.
Yeah.
There's very few
It's a shame.
autos. So
Citizen
dwarf Seiko by a decent margin. For the watch guy or watch gal, knowing that there's a brand out there that is bringing automatic movements and pushing them to the forefront. Seiko has done a lot to kind of also just quash their solar stuff. There's not that much solar coming out anymore. It's the kinetic's done. It's mostly autos. I mean, it really is. Their quartz, their low-end battery stuff, it does well. But it's great that they're pushing out all these awesome dive watches. And all their collaborations with, Fabien Cousteau and all the save the this, save the that.
And with pop culture as well, the whole Street Fighter range.
Sure,
I think
they did that. They did
clever.
They did the rowing team one, and
My example, and it's very predictable. It's Fortis.
Okay.
Because so in 2017 they had financial difficulties.
Right.
I visited them that year actually, and just after I left, they were bought by a new owner to keep them independent. And for you guys, the history. The makers of the first automatic watch. With John Harwood, the British horologist. Oh God, I get tired of repeating myself.
Right.
Lots of history, okay? Lots, right? Amazing brand. Their new designs. Literally last week they came out with a new Marine Master. Absolutely aced it. Beautiful. You would love this.
Okay, check it out.
It's strangely futuristic, but at the same time really builds on their legacy.
Right.
The Fliegers that I was doing at the time of this. A giveaway of their Fliegers. They decided to collaborate with me. It was fantastically generous of them. But those Fliegers, they were my favorite release of 2020 and 21. They came out, the blue one, because they not only refurbished the whole factory, they strengthened all of their lines with new, fresh designs that really kick ass.
Right.
And that's the ideal way to do it. Okay, the downside of that is that's a lot of investment.
Yeah, sure.
A ton
Big
of
time.
investment.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys realize. I know now because I've designed watches with people. And I've seen the process from start to finish. The cost, even for a micro brand, we're talking huge astronomical costs, hundreds of thousands of dollars just for not that many watches. It's a monumental. You have to really invest. So to do it on that scale in the Swiss factory,
right, and have a whole factory behind you, infrastructure, everything else,
everything. But they found an owner that loves the brand. It's committed. He's a watch enthusiast. He's obsessed with the brand.
Right.
It's It's almost like the stars aligned. Oh,
right.
Nice pun there for
perfect.
Fortis. But that's the ideal way to do it. And unfortunately,
Yeah, of course.
It's a lot of that.
That's what it's all about.
So how do you win over a watch enthusiast?
You give them what they want.
Right.
I think you also have to exceed expectations, not just meet expectations. I think that's really over deliver, under promise. Is that the way it goes?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's how you win over an enthusiast. You listen to them.
Right.
And you give them what they ask for, and they're happy.
So we're talking design.
We're simple people.
We're talking design. We're talking new
the
tech.
movement choice, technologies, and just don't make me. And Seiko is actually a rollback in Seiko. They're listening to this. Some of their divers and Prospex watches are now coming with sapphire crystals because they're finally listening that this is what people want. They'll pay for it. They stop with the Hardlex. We want sapphire.
We want decent bracelets, please.
We want they start. We want pins and collars.
Yeah.
No, we don't. We want. They're doing ceramic bezels now on the King Turtles and the King Samurais.
Saw that. Yeah.
So
that's
I feel like that's a listen.
I'm gonna give them one example, which Hamilton does really, really well.
Sure.
They love to be in the movies.
Yeah, sure.
They were in an Amazon show, the Jack Ryan. That was it. Good show actually.
Okay.
Do check it out. And so they had one of their chronographs. Not just movies. They were also in the latest Far Cry game.
Oh, were they really?
Yeah. So, and I love that because it's a clever way. Okay. Yeah. It's product placement.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
I haven't seen Tenet yet. Tenet. The latest Christopher Nolan. I have not seen it yet. But they do it in a way that doesn't bring you out of the
Right.
movie too much. I think Interstellar was a perfect integration. It suited their style as a kind of American family, the aesthetics of the watch.
Right.
It has to work. But in doing so, when it's done right, like Interstellar, you get these kind of cult watches. You get
Right.
it adds a level of magic.
Right.
I think that's a great way to do it, and I think Hamilton are kind of masters of that.
Right.
You know,
Invigorating themselves through placement.
exactly. But there's bad examples. I think choosing an ambassador. Actually, I have to say I don't know enough about her, but when Tudor chose Lady Gaga, right?
Okay.
A lot of watch enthusiasts were. I mean, the vitriol hatred on
Right.
in the comments of
Right.
a video I did covering that. You know, I get Born to Dare, their kind of slogan. From what I know about her, it's to be successful in that industry.
Right. Very difficult.
Yeah, very, very difficult. And she's immensely talented. So I get it. But to watch enthusiasts, the established Tudor guy,
It doesn't work.
doesn't work.
No, they're not listening to Poker Face.
No, I think that's what it's a kind of not, is it paradoxical? Not really. It's it didn't please everybody.
I would say it's to some people they probably consider it a slap in the face. You know,
Yeah.
This is who you think that I fraternize with.
Right.
This is who you think's in my. I almost said CD player, but people don't use those anymore, do they?
I do. There's one over there.
Oh. You know, on my. No, they don't use iPods either.
Walkmans.
Thank you. My Discman.
On their cassette player, on their record player. I totally get it. And it's funny because when I think Tudor, I think military watches.
Okay.
I think Marine Nationale. They had one in the Mission Impossible film when Tom Cruise was wearing one, weirdly, for like a couple of scenes. I can't believe that was not an accident.
Right.
You know, but it suited him.
Right.
Guy does his own stunts.
Right.
You know,
Little
crazy as he
little
is.
crazy, yeah.
Yeah, but he embodies that. You know, he's a man. He's
Right.
I think that was a good fit.
Right.
But he's not an ambassador.
Right.
I don't think their budget's big enough. But
Probably not.
that's what I'm saying. Like JLC, they did have Clive Owen, right?
Okay.
You know that actor?
Yeah, no, I know who he is.
Yeah, very suave, quite refined, kind of Bondian in a way.
Yeah.
British. Now they have Benedict Cumberbatch. Again, same kind of thing. Not
Yeah.
so Bondian, but you know, classical actor,
Sophisticated, yeah.
English actor. I think
Yeah.
perfect.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
You know, I never really understood brand ambassadors. I mean, I know why they're there, but I feel like I'm not the kind of person that kind of, it's like, oh, you know, whatever, you know, Seiko uses, they had the Jimmy Johnson, and then they had the tennis player, I can't even say the guy's name, because it's got too many consonants next to each other. You know, I forgot who he was.
Yeah,
but yeah,
my mind's gone too, yeah.
And I just never really, I understand, again, I understand why they do it. I just not really a fan of the brand ambassador.
No,
You know,
I
Rolex
agree.
to Jack Nicholas, or Jack Nicholson, excuse me.
Right.
No, Nicholas. That's right the first time.
Yeah.
You know, doing
Can
the
you
golf.
imagine Jack Nicholson? Yeah. Oh my God. Can you imagine him being like, "You can't handle this watch," you know?
Yeah, definitely. He'd be a good
Oh
one.
God, that would be amazing.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and they spend, and there's big money in it.
Yeah.
There's tremendous money in it for them. Race car drivers generally, or you know, the
I think that's a cool one. I think Sportsman is a cool one because they're using it.
Oh, hopefully.
Timing a lap. Like Michael Schumacher, there was that limited edition Speedmaster with Michael Schumacher. I owned it because, you know, my family's a Ferrari fans. And I actually saw him race, so I got the watch. And,
Right.
It did mean more because I saw him wearing it.
Okay.
So then you do find pictures, and then there's kind of accidental ambassadors, like talking of racing drivers, the Ayrton Senna Seiko, and he chose that.
Okay.
You know, I think those are wonderful when it's like,
Right, accidental.
yeah,
Or, you know.
or they're fans of the watch.
Right, and then they don't have to pay for it. The company doesn't have to pay them for it.
Yeah, but there's an authenticity to it. There's a, you know, it's their choice. I love that.
Right.
But how do you control that? How do
Right, you can. But I mean, are you the kind of person that, you know, let's say, you know, some big brand ambassador that you like was wearing a watch, does it make you want to buy the watch?
Depends if I'm a fan of that person. Like,
It would, huh?
if I am a real big fan, like, trying to think of actors I really respect. I do like Tom Cruise for, I think, his body work and his commitment to what he does. That would be somebody that would win it over for me. Denzel Washington, I think, is an amazing actor. I'd love to see him being an ambassador for a brand.
But like, if you saw him wearing a watch, would you be like, "Oh, that's a watch
I would be more
wanna own."
interested in.
Would you really? I see. That's why totally for me, it's
You know why? Because I think Denzel is one of those guys that he would pick a brand that actually means something to him.
He's very suave.
Yeah. I don't think he'd be a type that just, you give him a suitcase of money.
Right. And then,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Definitely know what you mean.
There's certain types of people that I'm just like, oh, okay, you support that brand. Cool.
Right. Good for you.
That's on my radar now.
Okay.
If you
interesting.
respect it, I respect it. You know,
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know.
I always feel like I'm not the normal buyer. My mind's always doing something else, and I'm always like, wow, people pay attention to other people.
Yeah, I think this stems back to what we said in a previous video where I noticed I'm all about the history.
Right, true.
And you're all about the engineering.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, maybe, I'm trying to think, I don't know. Maybe if Albert Einstein wore something, I'd be like, oh, he wore that.
He wore Longines.
Now, see, I don't own one, and I don't want one. So there you go, that whole thing's out the window.
No, but trust me, if you saw the Longines, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna show you the Longines after we record. I'm pretty sure it was the Longines. If there's a story behind it, if there's a meaning.
Perhaps I could be swayed.
Yeah. You know who's really crafty is Rolex.
Oh yeah.
They like, especially Hans Wilsdorf in the early days. After the war he sent Winston Churchill a Datejust.
Oh, okay.
As a present and a letter. The way they try and like
get in just quietly.
Yeah, quietly. But
a handwritten note.
Yeah. They knew marketing before it was a thing.
Before it was today.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How do you lose your fan base? How do you...
Oof. Well, I guess you could say I could do the opposite of what we discussed. I could say not listening. You could choose Lady Gaga as your ambassador, right? You can jack up your prices for no other reason than jacking up your prices. Mm-hmm. But I will say that you look at Rolex, right? The watches can't be found anywhere, and yet I would say their fan base is just continuing and going up and up and up.
I think that is a unique thing of demand, and the control and the demand is so strong that I think they're exempt. I think it makes them even more desirable.
You think they're the outlier?
Yeah.
In everything, yeah.
If when you can't get that thing, but it makes you want it.
Yeah, sure. Everyone wants what they can't have. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I get that.
I would say, what have I written down? Yeah, brands trying to be something they're not.
Okay.
So like, when like suddenly, you're trying to be luxury now, or you're trying to make divers, but you're not known for this.
Right.
Or I think that quickly alienates a lot of people.
Well, I think that based on on the topic of the video, I think Seiko. I think, I think their customer base is growing. But I do think they've lost people with this switch over to what they're doing, replacing the SKX with the 5KX. And I think they did lose people. And judging from what I read on comments and stuff, they definitely lost a portion. But I think as long as you gain more than you lost, you're doing okay.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Please do share in the comments. I mean, I guess you could say scandals. You could say... what are the most questionable things a watch brand has ever done?
Well, I was trying to think, is there a brand that's really lost it because of something they did?
There's a brand I would never buy because of something they did, but I don't think I could share it.
Because it's what?
Because of something they did.
Oh, okay.
But it's in history.
Okay, so that's fine.
And I don't want to go down that.
Let's not go down that path then. Let's not go down that path. I don't know. Like I had said before that, Concord kind of they lost their whole fan base.
Yeah.
And I would say everyone that owned a Concorde doesn't own a Concorde anymore. Or they didn't, whatever they did, trying to, because obviously the whole world was moving towards, away from quartz and moving more into, nice automatics. They did something wrong and they lost everybody.
Concorde, strangely enough, is in, I have a book called 50 Watches That Changed the World. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, it's there.
Yeah.
Because they made quartz luxurious and kind of
Yeah,
aspirational.
and thin and beautiful.
Yeah, you know, that's a bit like, that's the wrong horse to bet on.
Right,
You know, for
right.
longevity.
Right. Sure.
Because all the you know, Rolex did it with their oyster quartzes. Omega wasted a huge time and
Yeah.
money on their super, and they were very impressive. But
Right.
you know, who's going to buy that?
Not anymore.
Yeah,
No.
not anymore. Guys, do add your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. What do you think is the best way to rebrand a watch brand successfully? And also, probably more interesting than that, how do you destroy a watch brand as quick as possible?
Sure.
God, I'm not even going to say. There's so many. Yeah, it's better you say in the comments. I'm not going to touch that one. But anyway, guys, thank you, Marc, once again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Especially for sponsoring this video.
You're welcome.
I'll leave a link to his channel in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, found it useful. And as always, guys, we will catch you in the next one. Okay, ciao.